Exclusive contract from Feilu Novel Network Novel. Siheyuan. Gift of Jia and Zhang silver handcuffs. At the beginning, Lin Zhen travels through the world of 1960s, love in a courtyard. He is already a level 9 engineer who has been discharged from the military. Awakening emotional value system. Is it difficult for engineers to upgrade? I will be promoted to a higher level in 10 minutes, Lin Zhen. At the beginning, Jia and Zhang took over my property. Sent her directly to labor reform. Qin Huairu wants to hold on to me. Eat dry and wipe clean before sending you back to the countryside. Silly Zhu wants to stand out for love. If the traitor's children dare to be arrogant, go to jail and have a meal. Zhonghai wants me to retire for him. Sorry, I'm giving you the disreputable package. Lin Zhen has the final say in this quadrangle. In the era of prosperity, 3 or 2 beauties were close friends. Feeling uncomfortable, Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Journey through 1960, coming out of the battlefield. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Parallel World. Blue Star, 1960, Winter. After a heavy snowfall, a green train slowly drove into the west station of the 49th city and stopped slowly. As the whistle sounded, people carrying big and small bags jumped off the train, while those waiting on the platform were anxiously hoping that the people they welcomed would arrive soon. The person who followed the crowd down from the station surprised everyone. Wearing a dark green military uniform, with a tall figure and dark skin. A face is also handsome enough, but unfortunately, a scar from the corner of the eye spreads directly to the chin, which makes this face intimidating. The indifferent light in his eyes made the few people who were blocking the way unconsciously give way. Finally returned to the 49 cities. Lin Zhen's heart showed a hint of relief, and the cold air in his eyes disappeared. This Chao Dan's life. Stepping up his backpack, Lin Zhen walked through the crowd. Looking at the old train station, he already felt waves of confusion. Lin is really a time traveler. He just completed a 9-figure transaction and is preparing to celebrate a wave. It's time to travel. And it has also traveled into the familiar world of Love Full Courtyard. When Lin Zhen crossed over, he was still in the army. After several hours of fusion, he learned about his original memories. My parents were originally comrades in the public security system of the 49 cities, and my family of 3 lived happily in a courtyard. Later, at the age of 14, my parents unfortunately sacrificed themselves in an operation against enemy agents. He is the only one left at home. Zhonghai, an old man in the yard, saw that this was the best choice for his retirement. So he approached Lin Zhen, hoping that he would be his godson. But his original father had said before his death that Zhonghai was a hypocrite. How could he agree to him? Feeling ashamed and angry, Zhonghai chose to gather the beasts and isolate Lin Zhen. He is even more scheming against his pension. After graduating from high school, the original owner chose to go directly to the military. Lin Zhen, who had just entered this world, had called out for the existence of the system countless times, but what he received was a blank slate. Helpless, we can only settle for it as soon as it comes. I stayed in the army for 5 years, becoming a combat hero while also receiving 3 personal second-class honors. Before retiring, he saved a big shot and his face was injured by shrapnel. He also received a first-class merit award. The first-class merit of living. When in the army, Lin Zhen was not idle either. He is well aware that in this era, technology is the primary productive force of the future. He, who doesn't rely on the system, has obtained a certificate as a level 9 engineer. Therefore, he also received praise from the entire army and was given a name among the leaders. After leaving the station, he got on the bus to Nanluoga Lane. Sitting in the seat, following the movement of the public car. Lin Zhen looked at everything in front of him with great interest. After a heavy snowfall, there were still people shoveling snow on the road. Although it looks simple, there are still many holes on the cotton clothes. But it's difficult to conceal the essence and spirit in their eyes. Is this the 4 or 9 cities after experiencing the most difficult period? The place where I will live in the future. I want to use my own hands to make this city more beautiful. We're standing at Nanluo Guxiang. Get off first and then up, don't squeeze, don't squeeze. With the shouting of the ticket seller, Lin Zhen got off the bus. Following the memory of my predecessor, I walked more than 300 meters north from the bus stop and turned into an alley. I arrived at the familiar courtyard in my original memory. Arriving at the entrance of the courtyard, a half-skinned old man was looking at him. He still wore a pair of reading glasses wrapped around his eyes and legs with gauze on his face, holding a shovel in his hand. He should have just served the flowers. When Lin Zhen saw this old man, the memories in the TV series overlapped with those of his original self. Isn't this Yan Bugui, the third uncle in the courtyard? Who are you looking for? This courtyard is not something outsiders can easily enter. Third master, long time no see. I'm Lin Zhen from the backyard. Have you forgotten so quickly? Yan Bugui tilted his head and pondered for a moment. Lin Zhen, the one who went to join the army in the backyard. You haven't heard from us for years, and everyone thought you sacrificed yourself. Just returned from a career change. Lin Zhen replied with a smile. He didn't have much malice towards Yan Bugui because he had a timid personality and did not participate in the embezzlement of his pension by the people in the yard. And the 3 mothers also spoke for his parents at that time. Yan Bugui looked at Lin Zhen in front of him, who was completely different, and his eyes were filled with surprise. Before joining the army, the thin and weak little boy, with lifeless eyes, dared not look up at others. Now, this imposing demeanor makes Yan Bugui feel intimidated. Xiao Lin, don't be too angry when you go to the backyard. Yan Bugui suddenly thought of something, and his eyes suddenly showed regret. After finishing speaking, I hurried straight home without looking back. Lin Zhen is a bit curious. But seeing Yan Bugui like this, I didn't ask. Humming a tune and walking towards the backyard. After arriving in the backyard, he saw a scene that made him so angry that he was overwhelmed by an explosion. Chapter 2. Beating Jia and Zhang, Silly Zhu wants to stand out. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The photos of Lin Zhen's parents were thrown in a corner of the backyard. The glass above has completely shattered. Everything belonging to his family was also thrown into the yard. And his door was open. A short and chubby figure walked out, 1.5 meters tall, weighing over 200 pounds. He was still muttering, the Lin family must have been extinct for a long time. It's been so long since they came back, and so has this old man. It took so long to let our family live in. The Lin family really has a lot of things. That's great, it saved a lot of money. Then a woman dressed in floral clothes said on the side, Mom, why don't you throw away this photo? What if someone comes back? Go ahead, you country woman who hasn't seen anything. This street has already sent messages. I haven't received any information from their platoon for a year, so it's like people are dead. So many people in our Jia family are staying in the same room. How frustrating. We finally had 2 rooms, and I even confiscated his Lin family's money. It seems that we can only ask his family to give me money again in the next life. Qin Huairu listened to her grievances on the side, but unfortunately, she is now pregnant and cannot or dare to argue with Jia Zhang. Lin Zhen was completely enraged upon hearing these words. My own parents are at least martyrs. I am also fighting on the front line for the future of China. Are people in this damn courtyard stealing their own things? Sensing that the host is in extreme anger, located within the courtyard. System binding. The system binding was successful, and the emotion value system has been activated. The host can obtain a roulette lottery opportunity by changing others' emotions. I have obtained a beginner gift package. Do you want to open it? This system is really not awakening at the right time. At this moment, Lin Zhen's heart was only filled with anger. He wanted to kill these Jia family beasts directly. Seeing Jia Zhang still throwing things out, he silently recited, "No," in his heart. Then he rushed over in 3 steps and 2 steps, flying up and kicking on Jia Zhang's stomach. Ah! A scream came from behind. Bang! Jia and Zhang went straight out more than 1 meter horizontally. I fell to the ground and couldn't get up, struggling to get up, ouch. But he vomited all the white flour mantou he ate secretly at noon. Jia Dongshu in the room heard his mother's screams and rushed out. Who are you? How dare you commit murder in our courtyard? Someone, catch the thief. Jia Dongshu saw that his mother couldn't get up and angrily walked forward to look directly at Lin Zhen. Lin Zhen's eyes showed a hint of coldness. Your Jia family shamelessly occupies my house and dares to talk nonsense in front of me. Jia Zhang struggled to get up from the ground. She has been wandering in the yard for over a decade, and no one dares to hit her once. She has always been the only one who bullies others. There is no time when others bully her. She looked closer and saw that Lin Zhen, who was from the Lin family, had gone out to serve in the military. Her eyes twitched, and her bulky brain became unusually flexible, saying, "Who do I think it is? Isn't this a little beast from the Lin family? Why haven't you died yet? This West Wing room has been passed by our entire assembly and belongs to our Jia family." Jia Zhang, who had regained her senses, leaned against Qin Huairu with a plump face full of disdain. Lin Zhen was known for his good temper back then. No, he's just a coward. As soon as she heard the decision of the entire assembly, she should choose to beg for mercy and then apologize, and also give her Jia Zhang a sum of compensation. Upon hearing the commotion in the backyard, people from the courtyard came in groups of 3 or 5. Lin Zhen circled around, and there were almost all the people in the yard. The heavenly sovereign of morality, Zhonghai, father's kindness and filial piety in the bangs, counting all the heavenly secrets, Yan Bugui, the necromancer Jia Zhang. There are also Qin Huairu and silly Zhu standing on the side. It's really a bunch of beasts gathering together. Seeing an old man Zhonghai appear, Jia Zhang seemed to have found the backbone and quickly stepped forward to grab Zhonghai's arm. "Grandpa, you see, this yard has been assigned to my family, and he came up to attack me indiscriminately." Zhonghai quickly pushed away Jia Zhangshi, and the fat swayed in front of him, making him feel nauseous. "Lin Zhen, have you returned from the army? Why did you just hit someone in the yard? Apologize to my sister. Law quickly." Looking at Zhonghai with a false and compassionate expression on his face, after watching the TV drama, he naturally knew what role Zhonghai was. A hypocrite. Moral kidnapping is his first ultimate move. "Sorry, I am the flower of our motherland since the 21st century, and I don't even accept your moral kidnapping. Zhonghai, who gave you the right to decide to give my house to the Jia family?" Upon hearing that Lin Zhen dared to call him by his own name, Zhonghai felt a wave of anger in his heart. "When I fell in love with you and asked you to take care of Zhonghai's old age and send him away, it was your blessing. How dare you refuse?" After hearing that the street office had not received any news from Lin Zhen for a long time, he immediately set his mind on the Lin family's house. After all, his good disciple Jia Dongshu's family is now 4 people, and Qin Huairu is still pregnant. If there are 2 houses here, it can be more deeply tied to the Jia family, so his retirement will be worry-free. "Lin Zhen, who let you commit violence in the courtyard?" Giving the house to the Jia family was a decision passed by the entire courtyard assembly. "I tell you, although you haven't returned for a long time, as a member of the courtyard, you must abide by the decision of the entire courtyard assembly." After speaking, Zhonghai took a step forward and gestured for his gold medal hitter, Silly Pillar, to step forward. "I'm saying, Lin Zhen, have you gone out and drifted around? Did you hear an old man talking to you? The foolish pillar who proclaimed himself the god of war in the courtyard stood up. He has been fighting countless times in the courtyard since he was young, and has also bullied Lin Zhen, who has become a child of martyrs, many times. Although Lin Zhen has become stronger now, in the eyes of silly Zhu, he is still the coward who has been bullied and dare not speak. Get out of here. Faced with the silly pillar, Lin Zhen didn't show any mercy. With a cold snort, I didn't even glance at him. He finds it disgusting that such a useless person can become the protagonist of a TV drama. When the cook only thought about stealing things from his master's house every day, he was played with by a widow Qin Huairu for over a decade. In the end, she also exploited the assets of the only good person in the entire courtyard, Lu Xiaoyi, to provide retirement for the three elders. Moreover, in Lin Zhen's opinion, there must be a problem with the composition of his family. Silly Zhu should be the son of a traitor. When he was watching TV dramas back then, he was so angry that he almost smashed the TV. Upon seeing Lin Zhen ignore him, silly Zhu became furious. How dare a little Lin ignore himself? Just prepare to wave your fists and go up and slap him. Chapter 3. The director of the street office appears, shocking the beasts. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Pillar, come back. Zhonghai whispered. They had originally made a decision at a general meeting to seize the property of the Lin family. I thought Lin Zhen had already died outside, so naturally they digested the inside of the courtyard in this house. I didn't see that there are now 4 to 5 or 10 people queuing up for houses in the street office of the 49 cities. Silly Zhu was scolded by an old man and stood in place. He didn't understand why the old man didn't let him beat him up hard. Although Lin has become a soldier, his body looks much stronger. But his silly pillar is the god of war in the courtyard. Looking at Qin Huairu, who had already had a big belly and a face full of grievances, silly Zhu thought to himself that he must give this ungrateful Lin Zhen a hard lesson. Jia Zhang, who was just kicked, doesn't think about these things. The Jia family just got this house. No matter what Lin Zhen did when he came back, this house must belong to their Jia family. You fart, I'll tell you. Your Lin family has automatically moved out of the courtyard, and now this house belongs to my family. You kid, get out of here. Lin really doesn't bother to talk to her. Jia Zhang is definitely going to give her a ride. It's hard to dispel the hatred in her heart without killing her. The top priority now is to dispose of the animals in this yard. He clenched his fist again, pretending to approach and hit Jia Zhang. At the sight of Lin Zhen, the scar on Jia Zhang's face appeared incredibly frightening. As soon as his legs softened, he collapsed and sat on the ground. Old Jia. Look. This little beast from the Lin family is bullying us, and there is no one in the Jia family. Are all 3 of you blind? Hurry up and drive him out. Jia Zhang cried and howled like a fat pig on the ground. Zhonghai showed a hint of helplessness. Jia Zhang was really the first to pretend to be crazy and foolish, and then he looked at the Bangs and Yan Bugui standing on the side. Second and third masters, how do you think this matter should be resolved? Yan Bugui pushed his glasses and realized that he, who had done everything in his power, did not intend to participate in this matter. After all, it doesn't have any benefits from his Yan family, and there's no time to cause trouble. Lu Haizhong is even smarter. He only wants to show off his official authority and doesn't want to take responsibility. Well, we should investigate the facts before making a decision. Whoever owns this house will have to decide. At first glance, both of them were making peace, so Zhonghai had to let Jia Zhang get up first. Alright, sister.in.law. With so many people, let's figure things out first. Lin Zhen glanced at the few people in the nest of snakes and mice and sneered. No need, the decision of your general meeting has no legal effect at all. I have $1 here. Can someone help me invite Director Wang from the street office over? Seeing Lin Zhen pull out $1, the Yen brothers in the crowd immediately became hot-eyed. His father's monthly salary is only 27.5 yuan, Yan Jicheng quickly rushed out of the crowd. Come back to me. Don't you know that the courtyard will handle this matter in the courtyard? As Yan Jicheng ran out in a flash, the anger on Zhonghai's face was uncontrollable. Lin Zhen, take a look at you. What a civilized and friendly quadrangle we are. Are you running to the street to cause trouble? Are you delaying our government's work? Zhonghai said angrily. Lin Zhen gave him a cold glance and didn't intend to talk to him much. Are you deaf? Can't you hear an old man talking to you? After going out for so many years, I haven't learned anything. Do you owe me smoking? Stupid Jew, who had just been holding back his anger, found an opportunity and began to output crazily. Lin Zhen listened to the noise and really wanted to beat up the silly pillar. But think about Director Wang coming soon. Glancing at silly pillar, he sat down on the ground. The people in the yard were discussing extensively. Isn't it true that the Lin family has already died? Why did Lin suddenly appear? He's going to join the army, not dead. Why does this old man divide his house? Let me tell you, Jia Zhang is good at playing. He usually doesn't draw well. But Qin Huairu is really pitiful, with a big belly sticking out here. I keep talking about you, aren't you looking at his wife? In no time, Yan Jicheng, who was panting heavily, ran back to the yard. He approached Lin Zhen and reached out his hand. Bring it. Lin Zhen smiled and handed him $1. Yan Jicheng smiled and returned to the crowd with money. Within a minute, Director Wang arrived at the backyard of the courtyard. She saw Lin Zhen sitting on the ground at a glance. After all, when Lin Zhen's parents passed away, she still handled the procedures for the pension. This child is also a hard-working person, but why did you go to the military and make such a strong circle? Director Wang, long time no see. I went out to serve in the military for a few years, but the house left by my parents was occupied, and my parents' portraits were also left in the yard. They are martyrs. Director Wang looked around and saw a photo of Lin's father and mother who had been thrown into the yard. My face suddenly turned cloudy. This insult to revolutionary martyrs is a serious crime. And, was this other person's house occupied by you? Chapter 4. Jia Zhang's caught. Zhonghai suspended, You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhonghai, what's the situation in your yard? Director Wang turned directly to Zhonghai. After all, as the steward in the yard, Zhonghai usually has more connections. Zhonghai's face changed and he said, Director Wang, it's like this. We saw that no one from Lin's parents would come, so leaving this house here would be a waste. Thinking that the Jia family in our yard has a relatively large population, the courtyard made a decision to let them live in first. Director Wang ignored him and looked coldly at Jia Zhang, saying, Why are you living in someone else's house? Who gave you the right? Your insults to revolutionary martyrs should be handed over to the police station for handling. Jia Zhang's heart instantly cooled when she saw the director of the street office speaking like this. Director Wang, you also know that our Jia family is in a difficult situation. 5 people, and now my daughter-in-law is pregnant. It's really impossible to move here, he said in pain, so why don't you invade someone else's house? Xiao Huang, go and invite comrades from the police station to come over and tell them that there are people here who insult revolutionary martyrs. Director Wang's face has become even worse. Leaving aside her relationship with the Lin family, let's just talk about insulting the martyrs. If she doesn't handle it. This is a major issue. Upon hearing this, Director Wang ignored her poor sales. I just sat on the ground and started crying out to Lao Jia, open your eyes and take a look. These people are joining forces to bully our orphans and widows. Open your eyes and take these people away. Lin Zhen walked up to Director Wang and said, Director Wang, is this promoting feudal superstition? We have all seen it. Director Wang's face turned pale. She had never seen such a strange resident in a courtyard before. I thought this courtyard was the safest one in the jurisdiction, but it turned out to be a facade. Zhonghai, is this what you were asked to do as a steward? Alright, shut up. Zhonghai quickly stepped forward and grabbed Jia Zhangshi, whispering, sister-in-law, stop making trouble. The police will really come in a moment. Jia Zhang cried while looking at Director Wang with his spare light. Seeing Director Wang's pale face, she lowered her head and continued to pretend to be crazy and foolish. Director Wang, was it you who reported the case? Did someone insult revolutionary martyrs? Within a few minutes, people from the Nanluo Guxiang police station arrived at the scene. Upon hearing that someone was bullying the martyrs, Director Zhang personally led the team. It's their Jia family who left my parents' portraits in the yard and even occupied my yard. Lin Zhen saw the familiar Director Zhang coming over and walked forward, saying, Are you the kid from the Lin family, Lin Zhen? It's me, Uncle Zhang. This little physique is really good. Just returned from a career change. Yes, Uncle Zhang. Just got off the train today and when I came back, I saw that my yard had been occupied. Director Zhang looked at Jia Zhang, who had already collapsed on the ground due to the arrival of the police. Directly yelling angrily, the Lin family's parents sacrificed themselves to track down enemy agents. Not only did you take care of Lin Zhen in the yard, but you also bullied the martyrs. Bring them back to me for interrogation. I don't have it, I'm not leaving. I'm right in this yard, this is my house. Why are you pulling me? Someone is here, the police have beaten someone up. As two police officers approached and grabbed Jia Zhangshi, she suddenly trembled. I heard that bullying revolutionary martyrs is a serious crime. She quickly winked at Zhonghai, but how could Zhonghai care about her at this time? He's already struggling to protect himself. The police won't save face for the mischievous Jia Zhang family. Which of them doesn't know the parents of the Lin family? He forcefully dragged Jia Zhang up and put on a pair of silver handcuffs for her. This time, it was an old man who neglected his duty. On behalf of the three old men, I apologize to you. However, Lin Zhen, could you please tell Director Zhang that you don't want to close the Jia Zhang family? Zhonghai saw that the situation was not right and quickly softened to Lin Zhen, pulling her aside and saying, Zhonghai, I see you're really funny. Just now you were favoring the Jia family, and now you want me to forgive the Jia family. I tell you, this insult to the martyr is unacceptable. Lin Zhen didn't care what Zhonghai said, he just spoke out loud. Well said, I see that Zhonghai doesn't distinguish right from wrong. You, as an old man, should reflect on yourself. The street gives you rights, but it doesn't allow you to seize someone else's property. Director Wang looked at Zhonghai and said coldly. The two police officers here have already pushed Jia Zhang, who is howling, out of the door. Jia Dongxu watched as his mother was taken away and dared not even hide behind Qin Huairu. Qin Huairu, who should have been sad, saw this scene and felt a hint of joy in her heart. Jia Zhang disregarded her pregnancy and would beat and scold her even if she had any dissatisfaction with her daily life. Isn't it a good thing to be sent to prison? When Director Zhang left, Director Wang also announced the punishment for Zhonghai. The position of Zhonghai's uncle is to be confirmed for a month. If there is any recurrence, it will be cancelled directly. Upon hearing this news, Zhonghai was struck by lightning. This Lin family kid is really a disaster star. As soon as he returned, the Jia Zhang family was harmed and went in, what's causing me to shake my position as a master again? This son must not stay in the courtyard. Your Jia family has damaged the Lin family's finances. Lin Zhen, please take a look at what there is. Director Wang nodded at Lin Zhen and said. I just took a look and besides the photos of my parents, there are also pots and pans inside the house that have been damaged by the Jia family. Even if it's 100 yuan, it's good. Bastard, you caused my mother to be arrested. How could you ask my family for money? Jia Dongshu roared angrily. He may not mind if his mother is taken away, but it is not so easy to take the money from his Jia family. Shut up. Zhonghai quickly stopped, fearing that this matter would escalate again. The commotion has escalated, and it is estimated that even his disciple Jia Dongshu's job cannot be guaranteed. Chapter 5. The threat of Zhonghai, offering understanding to the Jia family. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Okay. Dongshu, go get the money and quickly resolve the matter. Zhonghai gritted his teeth and urged Jia Dongshu to go home and get the money. Jia Dongshu's expression was unfriendly, but seeing Director Wang still staring at him, he had no choice but to go home and bring money to give to Lin Zhen. The Jia family is really good at losing both their wives and soldiers. That's it. Jia Zhang is always showing off in the yard. I don't know what to say. Be careful, be careful. Be careful that the people of the Jia family hold a grudge against you. What are you afraid of? Jia Dongshu looks like a useless person, even boasting about being the most amazing young person in the yard every day. Jia Dongshu listened clearly to the people in the yard and gave them a deep glance. He took Qin Huairu back to the courtyard. Director Wang and Lin Zhen said that they would go to the street office and leave when they had time. Lin Zhen still had to go to the street to handle professional procedures, so naturally it was promised. Watching a farce come to an end, Zhonghai still refused to accept defeat. After all, his face in the yard today was greatly reduced. Lin Zhen, I know you just came back and nobody wants this kind of trouble. Zhonghai has a very kind and considerate attitude towards others. This Jia family is not intentional either. Our quadrangle is a civilized and harmonious advanced collective that requires everyone's efforts. You just came back, and it's not good to have a conflict with everyone. Just listen to an old man's advice and go back to the police station to come up with a forgiveness agreement. Everyone is looking down but not looking up, right? After speaking, he still wanted to approach Lin Zhen and pat his shoulder as a gesture of closeness. Lin Zhen showed a slight smile, but with the scar on his face, it looked a bit scary. Zhonghai, I just got off the battlefield. If someone gets too close to me, I will directly counterattack. Zhonghai awkwardly smiled. Listen to an old man, this needs to be forgiven. The Jia family is facing such difficulties, and Qin Huairu is about to give birth. Your childhood relationship with Dong Su was also good, so you can help. For Zhonghai, it is necessary to protect the Jia Zhang family now. Otherwise, in case he is convicted of insulting a martyr. It is also unfavorable for his disciple Jia Dongshu. Don't worry, I won't let you suffer. When you come back from joining the army, the higher-ups will always have to arrange work for you, right? Zhonghai was so weak that he had to come up and threaten Lin Zhen. You should know that our Red Star steel rolling plant is the best factory in Dongqing district. It's not that easy for you to enter the steel rolling plant. As for you and me, as the highest 8-level fitters in the steel rolling mill, we are also very familiar with the leaders in the factory. If you want to enter the steel rolling mill now, it will be difficult. Zhonghai said this to hit Lin Zhen. Ask him to quickly go to the police station and issue a letter of understanding. After all, Zhonghai has been working at the steel rolling mill for decades, and he knows that these discharged soldiers are basically arranged nearby. And their streets in Nanluoga Lane are all arranged nearby at the steel rolling mill. So he wants Lin Zhen to know, whether in the courtyard or in the steel rolling mill in the future, it is Zhonghai who has the final say. Otherwise, he won't have a good life. As an old traveler, Lin Zhen naturally sensed the threat in Zhonghai's words. He glanced at Zhonghai and then spat a mouthful of foam. Zhonghai, are you still using yourself as a dish? The army has arranged a job for me, which is good, but it has nothing to do with you. Zhonghai had just been secretly pleased in his heart, but was once again scolded by Lin Zhen's words into the depths of the sea. This Lin family kid really doesn't care, even the 8th level fitter himself doesn't take it seriously. A hint of gloom flashed in Zhonghai's eyes. When you enter the steel rolling mill, I want you to look good. Are you okay? I still have to pack my things. Don't even think about the Jia family's forgiveness letter. Lin Zhen saw that Zhonghai was silent, so he stopped speaking. No matter how embarrassed Zhonghai was standing at the door, he entered the room holding something and slammed the door shut. Go back inside, boil water, tidy up the house. He was taken out of his backpack again and wiped the entire room with alcohol. After finishing the meal, I poured a glass of water. Sit down and start researching the essential artifact and system of this traveler. Do you want to receive the newcomer gift package? Claim. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a newcomer gift pack, a muscle wash and marrow easy pill, full level fitter skill, 10 pounds of beef, 100 pounds of flour, and 10 pounds of eggs. Personal storage space of 10 square meters, obtaining a new world coordinate. Washed tendons and easy marrow all come out. That's right, it's all traversed, and with the system, isn't it normal for these to occur? Lin Zhen smiled and looked at the space in front of him. A golden pill appeared in front of me, emitting a charming scent. It instantly filled the entire room. Without doubt, Lin Zhen swallowed the pill in one gulp. As the pill entered, it turned into a burst of golden light that spread throughout the body. There was a tingling and painful area inside the bones of the body, which disappeared afterwards. Lin Zhen felt the hot air rolling over his body, turning into thick mist and steaming. He could smell a strange and unpleasant stench in his nose. Nausea. Even the steel-like nerves he had developed on the battlefield were almost vomited by the smell. Looking down in shock, Lin Zhen saw countless yellow and dark spots seeping through his clothes, as if he had been vomiting in the soil for several months. Above the skin, there is a thick layer of black oil and dirt. Poor spraying feces. Lin Zhen gave a bitter smile. It seems that the clothes cannot be taken anymore. Hurry up and throw off your clothes, then rinse them with water before feeling much more comfortable. Lin Zhen looked around in the mirror, and several scars on his body had already been worn away. Even the scars on his face were gradually fading. The trauma that was originally received has also been fully treated. The power is born in darkness, the skin and bones are solid, and the combination of strength and softness is simply a rebirth. Chapter 6. Qin Huairu visits the door. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. By the time the washing of tendons and marrow was over, Lin Zhen felt like he had gained a lot of knowledge in his mind. Originally within the army, he only learned knowledge through reading and working with engineering teams in the military, and obtained an engineer certificate. But now, this piece of knowledge in my mind covers everything from a first-level fitter to an 8th-level fitter. This gave Lin Zhen a little more confidence in his future life at the steel rolling mill. After all, when you arrive at the steel rolling mill, you still have to belong to the technical department. Looking at the pile of food in the space, Lin Zhen felt a bit more secure. After all, they are people who have emerged from the midst of gunfire and bullets. The desire for food is different. After wiping the body, Lin Zhen took out the flour and started kneading it. Pour the flour into a bowl and spread it out by hand. After adding water, stir it open with chopsticks, rub the flour into a dough with both hands. After covering the cage with cloth, I waited for a while. Lin Zhen took out a kitchen knife and quickly cut the dough into pieces. The kitchen knife in his hand is as accurate as a surgical knife. One by one, the dough lumps fell into the pot. Take out the beef blanched again, add sauce and braise. As the aroma of beef wafts out, the people in the yard could smell the smell of beef. This weekend, everyone is having lunch at home. One thing about this quadrangle is that if something happens in your home, the people inside the courtyard will immediately know. When the Lin family eats meat, the fragrance drifted directly to the front yard. In the room of the deaf old lady, Zhonghai just brought lunch. Then while the old lady was eating, Zhonghai told her about what happened in the courtyard today. What? The Lin family's son has returned. A haze appeared in the eyes of the deaf old lady. She recalled the past events. The deaf old lady was originally the concubine of a prince who was away during the Qin dynasty, and naturally she was the owner of this courtyard house. After the liberation, she understood the situation in a simple and straightforward manner, and even bought the identity of a martyr's family member by bribing the person who investigated the identity back then. The parents of the Lin family felt that the identity of the deaf old lady was questionable during their interactions in the yard, and even came to confront her. The deaf old lady was frightened enough, but fortunately, the Lin family's parents sacrificed their lives on duty shortly after. Among them, Zhonghai is not very clear about what the deaf old lady did. But he can be certain that this matter is closely related to the deaf old lady. Back then, excluding Lin Zhen in the yard was also an old lady's instruction to Zhonghai. This Lin family kid, it seems that he can't stay in the courtyard. The old lady looked at Zhonghai while eating and said. At this moment, a fragrance came in. The old lady sniffled and asked, Lao Yi, whose family is eating meat here? The taste is so fragrant. It must be my obedient grandson Zhu. Why don't you bring me a bowl for the old man? Zhonghai walked outside the door and looked around, only to see the smell of smoke coming from the backyard. This should be Lin Zhen who just returned. The deaf old lady's face was instantly filled with anger upon hearing these words. This little beast from the Lin family just came back and ate so well. Why didn't he die with his parents? Zhonghai's face showed a hint of embarrassment. After all, he is a martyr, so it's not good to curse other people's parents behind their backs. Zhonghai, I haven't eaten meat for several days. I'll get you some meat tickets later, and tomorrow you'll ask my grandson to make some braised pork belly to taste. Although the deaf old lady has saved a lot, she pretends to be poor every day. Surprisingly, he even got mixed up with the name of a 5-guarantee household. In fact, there is still a lot of savings hidden behind the scenes, and they even sell grain vouchers issued by the state on the black market. This is the fundamental reason why she can dominate the quadrangle. And in the Jia family in the courtyard, damn Lin Zhen, why don't you die outside? You're still causing your mother to be detained. Qin Huairu, what are you doing to eat? Why haven't you prepared your meal yet? Smelling the aroma of the beef outside, Jia Dongshu felt like he could eat a whole cow. Head of the family, it will be ready soon. I have a big belly and can't sit down to play. Qin Huairu, who was in her 60s, worked hard to bring the steamer over, watching Jia Dongshu and Bang Gung sitting on the table as expected. Her heart was filled with waves of resentment. Didn't you see that I'm pregnant now? Can't you come and help me? Which spendthrift is this eating beef at noon? Eat it, eat it. Don't you know how to send a bowl to our family? Dad, Mom. I also want to eat beef. You know how to eat all day. Grandma has been caught and still eats. Qin Huairu, go see which one is stewing meat and ask for a bowl. How can this coarse grain steamed bun last? Jia Dongshu smelled the smell outside and felt even more uncomfortable. Does someone else eat beef and eat their own steamed buns? Moreover, today I gave out 50 yuan for nothing. Today, their family must have something good to eat. Qin Huairu walked out with her rice bowl in her hand, thinking it was the silly Zhu family cooking. After all, the entire quadrangle is often served by the silly Zhu family. As soon as I arrived at his house, the door was open. Silly Zhu is drinking with a plate of peanuts. Seeing Qin Huairu come to my door, these eyes instantly widened. Sister Qin, pregnant, still has such a unique flavor. Qin Jia, why don't you have a drink? You idiot, I'm pregnant. Silly Zhu quickly put away his glass and said, yes, I'm so foolish. Who cooked this beef at? It has such a delicious taste. I don't know, it should be the backyard. You can go take a look. When Silly Zhu saw that Qin Huairu was not looking for him, he suddenly became lazy again. He also handsomely flicked his hair, as if he was very charming. Qin Huairu only felt that her eyes were insulted. What was the experience of a man in his 40s pretending to be cool? She finally experienced it. Quickly walked to the backyard, seeing that the smell of smoke comes from the Lin Zhen family. The closer you get, the more fragrant you feel. Why don't you come and try it out? After all, as a pregnant person, he wouldn't dare to do anything to me. Thinking of this, Qin Huairu walked to the door and knocked. Chapter 7. Silly Pillar braves to buy meat, Jia Zhang's detention center. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin Zhen indulged in a feast and finished a whole bowl of beef noodles in 3 minutes. I heard a knocking at the door and felt a little curious. Who in this yard wouldn't have eyes and continue to trouble themselves? Opening the door, Qin Huairu stood in front of her, with a big belly but beautiful talent, holding a bowl in her hand. Lin Zhen immediately smiled. Isn't that how it is? Your Jia family insulted our Lin family so much and came to ask for meat. But on second thought, Jia Dongshu is not dead yet, and Qin Huairu's position in the family is so low, maybe it was forced to come. Lin Zhen didn't speak, just looked at Qin Huairu. Qin Huairu has not yet turned black, and there is still a sense of shame in her heart. Lin Zhen, that adult's contradiction is an adult's contradiction. The child smells the fragrance of the meat, and it's really troublesome. Can we share a bowl of meat with our family? A sudden bolt from the blue struck Lin Zhen. I'm really sorry to speak up, he smirked and said, I'm sorry. I usually only cook for myself, so I don't have much for you. Qin Huairu looked through the door frame and saw a large bowl of beef noodles on Lin Zhen's table, choking and spitting. You can share a bowl with me, and my sister can help you clean and tidy up the house on a regular basis. As a big man, you definitely don't know how to tidy up the house. There's really no such thing. You should quickly let your family Jia Dongshu go to work and buy meat for the child. After speaking, Lin Zhen planned to close the door. For the white lotus of Qin Huairu, he's better off avoiding it. After all, getting close to Qin Huairu will become unfortunate. I didn't watch it. Jia Dongshu, this short-lived tube, hasn't even appeared in TV dramas. Silly Pillar was tricked, he hasn't touched a woman for over a decade. In the end, even her own children refused to see her and had to take care of the animals in the yard. Moreover, Qin Huairu was intricately associated with Zhonghai, Su Damao, and many others, all of which he carefully savored. Facing this kind of bus, he still doesn't have much interest. Qin Jie, what are you doing with him? Behind me, the voice of Silly Zhu came. Silly Zhu was curious just now, so he put down his wine glass and followed behind Qin Huairu. Just as I came over, I saw a scene that made him head up. This is his foolish goddess. He quickly stepped forward to save the beauty. Sister Qin, does that guy Bang you want to eat meat? Tell me early. I'll cook you a twice-cooked pork in the evening. It's fat but not greasy, and smells delicious. Silly Pillar leaned over and pulled Qin Huairu back. Speak to Lin Zhen. Lin Zhen, as someone like you, I really don't have sympathy. The Jia family is in such a difficult situation, and you still want their money. Silly Zhu said angrily again. Pillar, please say a few words less. Qin Huairu quietly grabbed his cotton jacket behind her. Feeling Qin's gentleness and affirmation in her tone, Silly Zhu instantly felt like a real man. Lin Zhen ignored him at all and smiled. Cheng, that's it. Then hurry up and buy meat to cook for your Qin sister. After speaking, regardless of their expressions, they slammed the door shut. You're really impolite. Be careful with me, I'll beat you up next time to clear my grudge. Silly Zhu saw Lin Zhen ignoring him and began to become impotent and furious. Then he turned to look at Qin Huairu and said, Wait, I'll go buy meat for my eldest nephew. Buy ½ pound, no, buy 1 pound. We eat better than him. Looking at Qin Huairu's face, Silly Zhu's legs softened once again. With a grit of his teeth, he took out the entire meat ticket for this month. Pillar, you're so kind. Qin Huairu said softly. At this point, silly Zhu's mind is already offline. What else can he say? Hurry home and get the meat ticket to buy meat, that's the key. But he forgot that he had promised his sister that she would make her a stir-fried shredded meat dinner when she came back tonight. Lin Zhen in the room doesn't care about this bizarre play. After finishing, he closed his clothes and lay in bed to rest for a while. At this moment, in the police station, Jia and Zhang doesn't feel that good anymore. She was handcuffed to a chair, with a pair of fat hands nowhere to rest. The chairs in this police station are not so comfortable. Jia and Zhang felt sore all over after sitting for only half an hour. Plus, I didn't take painkillers before going out today. She just felt like the bug in her heart was about to emerge. Yes, Jia and Zhang has a drug addiction. At this time, the painkillers contained ingredients such as morphine, and Jia and Zhang had already become addicted to the drugs. You need to eat at least 5 painkillers a day to relieve it. Police comrades, police comrades. I need to take medicine. Jia and Zhang shouted loudly in the room. How could the comrades at the police station get used to her? She's someone who bullies their colleagues. As if they hadn't heard, the few people returned to the office and sat down. Jia and Zhang shouted loudly and found that no one was paying attention to her. You guys are abusive. I want to complain to you. I want to complain to your superiors, he said angrily. After a while, my throat was dry and itchy, and I didn't eat anything this morning. With a loud bang, the person spread out on the chair. The police here saw that there was no sound in the room for a long time, so they prepared to go into the detention room to take a look. Upon entering, I saw Jia and Zhang lying on a chair, foaming at the mouth. Hurry up, take me to the hospital. He quickly called out to his colleagues and sent Jia and Zhang to the ox cart. After being sent to the hospital, undergo a check. Up. It turned out to be a drug addict. After a rescue, Jia and Zhang has already lost half of her life. The police comrade brought Jia and Zhang back and sent him to the detention center. This is a newly sent prisoner, guilty of insulting martyrs. You should watch the reception. The female account in the detention center is not very large, and Jia and Zhang is as fat as a pig. As soon as I entered, it took up a lot of space. Get up. The female prisoner led by her wet Jia and Zhang's face with water. Jia and Zhang woke up from confusion. If I smell the smell from this female account again, I feel like vomiting it out. P.S. Boss, can we ask for flowers and evaluation tickets? Chapter 8. Red Star Steel Rolling Plant, I'm here. Counting. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Without the Wake. Up number in the military, Lin Zhen still felt a bit unfamiliar. He only woke up from his sleep after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This is the treatment that travelers should have. Sleep until you wake up naturally, eat when you wake up, preferably with 2 women. Worry-free clothing and food, enjoy prosperity and prosperity. He fumbled for the pocket watch in his pocket, but still missed life in the military very much. Those comrades who train and fight together. Some people have fallen, but they are still alive. For the sake of you, I will live a better life in this world. Lin Zhen clenched the pocket watch in his hand, which was a gift from his comrade who sacrificed on the battlefield for the first time. After getting up and exercising for a while, I felt that my current body was very different from before. Although my original body was strong, there were many scars inside. Now this body is so perfect that if a biologist discovers him, I will definitely feel that this is the most perfect product of God. I took out a bunch of receipts from my backpack, all of which were given to me by the captain before I retired from the military. I don't know how the leader's sister looks, and she keeps saying she wants to go on a blind date with me. Lin Zhen suddenly remembered that the group leader had mysteriously called him aside before leaving. My sister, Zhong Xiaobai. Don't forget to go and see me when you arrive in the 49 cities. Zhong Xiaobai. Isn't this a blood-colored romantic character? It seems like a world of fusion. That would be even more interesting. Lin Zhen took out his military officer certificate and transfer certificate from his bag. In the afternoon, he needs to go and handle the procedures for discharge from the military. When I went out, I saw Yan Bugui and Lu Haizhong chatting while waiting for flowers. Xiaolin, go out. Lu Haizhong was very enthusiastic and took care of him. After all, he did himself a big favor today. Helping oneself reduce the authority of Zhonghai. If Zhonghai makes another mistake, then the position of a master in this courtyard will not be his own. Many beautiful fantasies appeared in the mind of the Bangs. Go out. Lin Zhen said indifferently that he had no fondness for this second uncle. Like Zhonghai, the existence of a hypocrite. Seeing oneself hit a wall, the Bangs were not awkward either. As a leader, be tolerant towards your subordinates. At this point, he was already fantasizing about how to establish his dignity after becoming an old man. Lin Zhen, who has served in the military, will be responsible for serving as his own duty soldier in the future. Lao Lu, what are you thinking? Everyone has left. Yan Bugui's voice shattered the beautiful imagination in the Bangs. I'm leaving now, talking to you is really boring. Lu Haizhong was pushed out of his imagination and said angrily, then turned around and left. This courtyard won't settle down in the future. After walking through the Bangs, Yan Bugui whispered. After leaving the courtyard, Lin Zhen took bus number 71 and arrived at the Veterans Administration Bureau on Zongyangmen Street. Here, he needs to obtain a transfer certificate before submitting it to the street office, which will handle his local household registration. Stepping into this 4-story building with great strides, a robust body caught the attention of the soldiers who came and went. Hello, comrade. I'm here to handle the transfer procedures. Where's the discharge certificate? Let me take a look. Lin Zhen presented his military officer certificate and a certificate issued by the army. Hello, sir. After carefully examining Lin Zhen's military officer certificate, the young man who was originally sitting suddenly stood up and saluted Lin Zhen. Mom, there are 6 third-class merits, 3 second-class merits, 1 first-class merit, and 5 years of military commendation. He finally saw the living god of war for the first time in his life. Lin Zhen gave a standard military salute, his fingers straight like sharp knives. Sir, I can't handle your procedures properly. I'll go and invite the leader to come. The young man inside was surprised to see that Lin really had to transfer to the technical department instead of becoming an ordinary worker. After a few minutes, a middle-aged man wearing a military coat walked out. Hello, Comrade Lin Zhen. Is this your 9th-level engineer certificate obtained in the military? The middle-aged man glanced at the reward statement in front of him and looked at him with an incredulous expression on his face. Yes, I obtained the certificate through self-study. Comrade, you are also excellent. Let me see if we have any invitations from the technical department here. I think you, as an excellent comrade, need to go to the most excellent position. Working anywhere is for the sake of serving the country. There is a Red Star steel rolling plant near my home, so I'll go there. Red Star steel rolling plant, that's actually a good place. The middle-aged man nodded. The Red Star steel rolling plant was the 3rd steel rolling plant in the 49th city, but it surpassed the other 2 in terms of reputation and treatment. He took a deep glance, as if he wanted to record his appearance in his mind. So, comrade. We will contact the Red Star steel rolling plant here, and the technical department here will welcome you very much. My surname is Ding Lei. It's nice to meet you here. Come over any time you have time, this will always be the home of our soldiers. After speaking, Ding Lei saluted Lin Zhen. Lin Zhen gave a serious return, thank you. I am proud to join the military. Then I will go to the street office to apply for a household registration. I happen to be going to Dongqing district for business. Let's go, I'll take you along. Is it convenient? That's really great. It's my honor to have the opportunity to bring our battle heroes with me. Ding Lei said with a hearty smile. P.S. Big shots, can you give me some flowers and help me order them up to 100? Chapter 9. Life is not just about fighting and killing, but also about firewood. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Sitting in Ding Lei's dark jeep, the two headed straight for Dongqing district. According to your qualifications, you can completely choose to work in government departments. Sitting in the office every day is quite leisurely. After receiving the cigarette handed by Lin Zhen, Ding Lei took a deep breath and said. Lin Zhen also lit a cigarette, and his smoking posture was very strange. 3 fingers grabbed the cigarette fiercely and then sucked heavily, like enjoying the last cigarette of life. Looking at the look in Ding Lei's eyes, Lin Zhen said, I really like machinery and I want to leave my product for this era. Are you referring to this smoking posture? If you get used to it on the front line, smoking will be like this. You never know if this is your last cigarette in life. I agree, after all, you are one of the most luxurious soldiers I have ever seen. A soldier like you, any unit will rush to take you back. Lin Zhen finished smoking in 3 bites and threw it out of the window. As a technology powerhouse, for the future prosperity of our country, I want to become the most outstanding engineer of this era. It has to be said that the vehicles in this era are still good. In the absence of traffic congestion, the two of them only took more than 10 minutes to reach the Nanluo Guxiang Street office. The people in the street office were clearly surprised when they saw a military vehicle parked in the yard. Thank you for your ride. In the future, welcome to come to the steel rolling mill to find me. You're welcome. After saying hello, Ding Lei drove out of the yard. Hello, may I ask if Director Wang is available? I am here to apply for household registration. Lin Zhen said softly. The girl in the yard looked at Lin Zhen's tall and handsome body with a hint of admiration. After all, people who can come by military car cannot be very simple. Director Wang is inside, I'll take you there. Okay, thank you. My name is Yi Yuzhu, and you? Lin Zhen. When Yi Yuzhu and Lin Zhen arrived at the innermost room on the 2nd floor, Lin Zhen knocked on the door and walked in. Hello Director Wang, I'm here to handle the household registration procedures. Could you please help me send a letter of introduction to the steel rolling mill? It said that you should call Aunt Wang. What's your name, Director Yi? It's strange. Your mother was a good sisters with us in those days. Ah, look at your aunt's mouth, I'm sorry. It's okay. They've been living in my heart all along. Director Wang picked up the document handed over by Lin Zhen and casually stamped a few seals on it. So welcome back to Nanluo Lane. This will always be your home. Thank you, Aunt Wang. I won't forget what you did for me. You child, you just came back without any receipts, right? Auntie has prepared food, cloth, and cotton vouchers for you. Don't refuse. It was our street office's dereliction of duty to let your house be occupied. I took this stack of bills and put them in my pocket. Thank you, Aunt Wang. I haven't prepared these yet. In fact, in Lin Zhen's space, he held a complete set of receipts, but this was Aunt Wang's intention. Upon hearing these words, Aunt Wang immediately smiled. Okay, then you go prepare the things for home use first. If you have anything to do, come to the street office to find Auntie. Your yard is very restless. Don't worry, I'm here. This group of people can't make waves. Lin Zhen confidently said, after all, this group of people will still be in danger of the enemies on the battlefield back then. It's just about giving them the deserved retribution one by one without being discovered by others. In Lin Zhen's memory, there were only a few people who had helped him in his difficult predecessor. Shaking his memory out of his mind, Lin Zhen left the street office. Today, he still has to go on a big shopping trip. All the blankets and other items at home need to be replaced. Who knows if this Jia family has ever used them? This family makes him feel nauseous. Upon arriving at the supply and marketing cooperative, Lin Zhen was momentarily distracted by the dazzling array of products. After all, after staying in the military for so long, I only see identical items every day. And for a visitor from the 21st century, these are just pediatrics. Rice, flour, grains, and oil should all be purchased, as well as seasoning. Lin Zhen arrived at the seasoning counter. "Comrade, hello. I would like 50 pounds of rice, 20 pounds of white noodles, a pot of oil, and some daily seasonings." The waiter, who was dozing off, frowned when he heard Lin Zhen asking so much. The waiters of this era are different from those of later generations, they eat national food. But when I looked up and saw Lin Zhen, his handsome face had a unique temperament, wearing a green military coat, this is not a fake. Facing the cutest person, she still gained a bit more patience. "Comrade, why are you buying so many things alone?" She took out various items from under the counter and said. "I just changed jobs and returned to my hometown, so I don't have anything at home." I took out my pocket, put everything in, and lifted it onto my body in one breath. Then he took out a thick stack of tickets from his pocket. "I just came back and I'm not sure how many tickets these require. Could you please help me take a look?" The waiter looked at this pile of bills and was stunned. She has been a waiter for 4 or 5 years, she has never seen such a bold person. Carefully drew out a few bills from them and handed them to Lin Zhen. Looking at Lin Zhen's handsome face, the waiter suddenly blushed. Here's the ticket for you. In the future, you can come to the counter to buy things from me. My name is Duan." "Hello, I'm Lin Zhen." "Thank you." Watching Lin Zhen effortlessly pick up these 70.80 pounds of things, Duan's mouth widened. Lin Zhen went to the fabric counter again, bought 3 blankets, and also bought a brand new 4-piece set. I went to the second floor and spent 180 yuan to buy a radio, pots and pans, as well as a hot water kettle and a series of other things. I spent over 300 yuan directly on this day. You should know that the most skilled 8th level fitter in the courtyard, Zhonghai, earns only 99 yuan. And this, in the entire 49 cities, they are all the highest income groups. When he left, Lin Zhen called a tricycle and stuffed everything on it. When Lin Zhen's car arrived at the entrance of the courtyard, suddenly, the whole courtyard was stunned. P.S. Thank you for the flowers from the big shot. Blessings. Chapter 10. The Jealousy of Beasts and the Crying of Batu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the front yard, Yan Bugui's family is preparing to cook dinner. You two have not paid your pocket money yet. If you don't pay tomorrow, our family won't be open. You can go out and eat on your own. Yan Bugui sat at the table, looking coldly at his 3 sons. Yan Jicheng and Yan Jifeng exchanged a glance. "Dad, we're also at the age of just finding a partner. We need to keep some money on us." "Fart it, I'm asking you. What about the 1 yuan Lin really gave you yesterday? If it weren't for your dad blocking silly Zhu, could you run so easily? At least give me 50 cents. Yan Jicheng showed a distressed expression and reluctantly took out 50 cents from his pocket and handed it to Yan Bugui. "That's right. Let's eat today first, and everyone's food must not exceed the standard line." The faces of the 3 children showed helplessness. Although the Yan family is not as violent as the second grandpa's family, managing money is really unbearable. Even eating should be done according to the scale, and eating a little more is not enough. At that moment, a noisy sound rang out at the door. "Master, my room is in the backyard. Could you please give me a hand?" It's easy to say, we are willing to work for our excellent people's soldiers. Not to mention the boss's generosity. Along with it came the sound of clanging and moving things. The Yan family quickly saw Lin Zhen and a manual worker carrying things at the door. The people in the courtyard also began to watch as they saw this scene. Wow, buying so many things. This rice bag should weigh dozens of pounds. It's enough for a family to eat for a long time. Are you still thinking of eating rice? Give me the rice ticket next month, and I'll go and exchange it for coarse grains. It's really difficult to be in charge. And there's also a radio. I've seen it displayed in the Supply and Marketing Society, and this one costs over 100 yuan. Lin is really rich, he can buy so many things in one go. Yan Bugui pushed his glasses and said with a hint of jealousy, I just came back and wasted money like this. I don't think Lin Zhen's job has been finalized yet. I'll just sit back and see how he'll live his life in the future. The people in the courtyard were also amazed. This is Lin Zhen's first time back, isn't it too bold? Is the person who retired from this army so wealthy? However, Lin Zhen only bought a small part of it, and he plans to replace all the furniture in the whole house. If this is to let the people in the courtyard know, then it would be sour to the heavens. At this moment, data popped up in Lin Zhen's mind. Yan Bugui's jealousy emotional value +1, Yan Jiqing's jealousy emotional value +1 wave of shopping directly earned him over 70 emotional points. Combined with the emotional values from the first day before, this is just one step away from the first lottery to break 100. Yan Bugui looked at Lin Zhen holding pots and pans, his eyes twitched, and he quickly approached to give him a hand. Lin Zhen looked at the skinny and hoe-like third uncle, but still smiled and refused his offer. Lin Zhen, can the third master help you? That. These unwanted pots and pans in your family. Lin Zhen instantly understood his meaning, and these three masters really had enough calculations. If I just come back, I'll be counted on. But considering yesterday, he didn't speak with Zhonghai. Okay, those things that the Jia family came in to touch. If you want, take them away. I find them disgusting. Alright. What are you three still fooling around for? Come and help brother Lin Zhen get something. Lin Zhen arrived at the backyard and opened the door. Put everything in and throw everything that the Jia family has touched to Yan Bugui. Yan Bugui's face was full of excitement, and I said that following Lin Zhen was definitely right. These things can be used for washing at home, and I've saved several dollars this month. The people in the courtyard gathered around. Lin Zhen took out the newly purchased big white rabbit milk candy from his bag and divided it among everyone. After all, these animals are not here, so we still need to divide them in the yard. Follow the mass line and leave animals with no way to go. Residents looked at the big white rabbit milk candy in their hands, and their impression of the Lin family instantly rose to the sky. After all, he is a soldier who has shed blood for the country, which also gives them milk candy that they cannot eat during the Chinese New Year. You know, this pound of big white rabbit milk candy costs 3 yuan. Who would be willing to buy it from a normal family? Bang Ji, who jumped over from the courtyard, looked at his own children, who were about the same age, holding milk candy in front of him. Suddenly, my eyes widened. You, quickly give me the sugar. This adult is still on the side. How could the child obediently give the candy to Bang Ji? The adults at home quickly pulled the children away. The children of the Jia family are all crooked, playing with them will harm the children. At first glance, no one paid attention to me. I arrived directly at Lin Zhen's doorstep. He swaggered in, reaching out to grab the candy on the table. When Lin Zhen saw how shameless this meme was, with a cold face, he shouted, "Get out." The murderous aura that Lin Zhen carried from the battlefield instantly frightened Bang Ji. A burst of breath made Bang Gung think he was about to be killed, sitting directly on the ground. Then he quickly stepped back, stumbled up, and ran out. Seeing this meme run away, Lin Zhen smiled happily. This is the legendary thief saint. At the age of 3, seeing old age, this kid has never been a good person since he was young. The biggest white-eyed wolf in the whole yard, sneaking around and doing anything. The future will still be the most foolish person. The most annoying child is none other than him. It's best to kill this kind of bear child directly. When Bang Gung returned home, he burst into tears. He hasn't experienced this injustice in this yard yet. This silly uncle is so sturdy, much stronger than this dog shit forest. He always smiles when he goes to his house to get things by himself. This Lin Zhen is really not a good thing. P.S. Thank you for the flowers and comments from the big shots. Wishing you all the best in life and love.